I'm wondering a little bit if you could just talk to me a little bit about like what the HBO boxing experience is like. Growing up, like that's like the prestige boxing kind of, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And um, I don't know that if there's like a equivalent to that at the moment. So I'm curious for someone that's had that experience, like what is that like?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Even as a young fighter, it was always HBO, man. I always wanted to fight on
Yeah.
HBO, HBO Championship Boxing, HBO Boxing After Dark. Yeah, that was a big deal for me. Michael Buffer calling out your name, talking to Jim Lampley and all those guys. Those are something I think every prospect or every even amateur boxer you wanted to do is fighting, because that was kind of like the pinnacle of boxing. HBO pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And so, one thing I'll tell you about this experience, when I met Peter Nelson. I tell people this story all the time. When I met Peter Nelson, he was the exec of HBO Sports at the time. I tell everybody he has the softest hands I've ever shook ever out of anybody, male or female. He has the softest hands, and that's one thing that I always remember about my experience fighting on HBO.
That's wild. That's really funny,
Yeah.
man. And that was a great fight too, man. I mean, that really was a great fight. The guy was the South African guy who stays in that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Oosthuizen. Yeah, I think I was a 4.5 one underdog going into that fight. It's a good experience. It's a good experience. My first 10 rounder. I never had anything easy in my career. My first 10 rounder was against a top five ranked opponent in the world. So it was good, man. Yeah.
What was your feeling during the fight? Because obviously, to the naked eye, like I thought it was relatively obvious that you won like the first
Yeah.
6 rounds, you know what I mean? But obviously it's a close fight. He's a good
Yeah.
fighter. What's your feeling during the fight? Like, are you feeling confident? Like I'm
It,
doing what I want to do right now?
I didn't feel like there was too many rounds where he bested me, because even when he had his moments, I would come back immediately with it.
Yeah.
Even if there was like a little bit of, from what I remember, is, some of the rounds later in the fight, there was less activity. But even when he would get off and have his moments, I would immediately come right back. And that's something, that we worked on, obviously, in sparring or fighting. If someone, tries to take that momentum from you, you want to get it right back. And I think we did that in almost every case that I can remember. So yeah, I felt confident that I won the fight, but again, it's fight game, man. You never know. And they ended up calling it a draw, but it is what it is.